All right, let's just jump right into it. Today, we're cracking open a real classic. We're looking at a textbook analysis of Agatha Christie's The Case of the Missing Will. Think of this explainer as your own personal detective case file. We're going to look at the clues, the red herrings, and the deeper themes exactly as they're laid out in our source. So, get ready to put on those detective hats because this one is really going to test your deductive reasoning.
Now listen to this quote. "You like your brains, my girl. I've no book learning, but we'll see who wins." That's Uncle Andrew talking to his niece, Miss Violet. And wow, it basically sets up the entire conflict right there. This isn't just your standard mystery. It's actually framed as a sporting challenge. It's this intense battle of wits, pitting old-school cunning against modern book learning. And the stakes? A massive inheritance. You definitely want to keep this rivalry in mind because it literally drives the whole story.
Okay, Section 1. The Queen of Crime.
So as you can see, our source today dives into this specific Christie story, which was actually originally published way back in 1923. It features the absolutely legendary detective Hercule Poirot and his trusty partner Hastings. In this one, they're tasked with helping a young woman solve this ultimate, crazy puzzle left behind by her eccentric uncle.
Now, what is truly mind-boggling here is just the sheer volume of Christie's work. Our text points out that she wrote 66 detective novels plus 14 short story collections. That kind of output, paired with her absolute mastery of the twist ending, totally cemented her legacy as the definitive Queen of Crime. When you're reading a Christie puzzle, you are definitely in the hands of a master of misdirection.
To get our brains warmed up, the textbook actually throws us a fun little literature quiz. It asks us to identify Christie's famous detective. And of course, that's the fastidious Belgian, Hercule Poirot, definitely not Sherlock Holmes. It also checks to see who authored the ABC murders, which is another classic Christie staple. This quick little trivia bit just confirms exactly who we're dealing with today. We're following the brilliant Poirot as he tackles a highly specific, complex puzzle.
Moving right along to Section 2, the investigation begins.
So Poirot doesn't just aimlessly wander around Crabtree Manor. He follows a superlogical path of deduction, and the textbook outlines his steps perfectly. Step 1. He interrogates the household staff, the Bakers, about any documents they might have signed. Second, he overhears a passing remark about past repairs, which leads him to track down workmen from Plymouth who were at the manor 2.5 years ago. And third, well, that leads him directly to uncover a secret cavity hidden right beneath a fireplace brick.
Looking a bit closer at that interrogation, the Bakers reveal they actually signed 2 wills, one at 11 o'clock and then another one about an hour later because Mr. Marsh claimed he made a mistake. Right after that, he gave them a tidy sum of money and headed out to the village to pay the tradesmen's books. Poirot notes this timeline meticulously, and let me tell you, every single detail here, the timing, the cash, the trip to the village, is a totally vital breadcrumb. Following the tip from the Plymouth workman, Poirot eagerly reaches into that hidden cavity in the old-fashioned fireplace. But his face totally falls. Instead of this triumphant discovery, he pulls out a charred fragment of stiff paper. He actually cries out in anger, "Someone has destroyed it!" It's a super rare moment where we get to see the great detective truly frustrated. It looks like someone beat him to the punch and burned the crucial document.
Which brings us to Section 3, the twist revealed. Right now, it really seems like we've lost to the wit of the late Andrew Marsh.
But wait, picture this scene. Hastings is dozing off in the corner of their train compartment on the way back to London, and Poirot is just sitting there in sad silence. Suddenly, as they're pulling out of Taunton, Poirot literally squeals with excitement. He shouts, "Hastings, awake and jump!" This sudden epiphany just hits him like a ton of bricks. "The tradesmen's books," he cries. "We forgot about them. We must return at once." That seemingly throwaway detail from the Baker's interrogation, yeah, that was the key to the whole shebang. And this brilliantly illustrates the twist of the story. Mr. Marsh was a genius. I mean, he foresaw every single step a searcher would take. He created a decoy by having the Bakers sign twice, hiding one will in the fireplace, and then destroying it himself just to throw people off the scent. But meanwhile, he hid the real will in plain sight. It was tucked inside a plain, dirty envelope attached right to his desk key, and get this, it was written entirely in disappearing ink. Absolutely brilliant. So, rushing back to Crabtree Manor, Poirot grabs that plain envelope from the key and holds its inside surface up to the fire. And, like magic, these faint characters start to appear. It's the true will, leaving everything to his niece Violet Marsh. But notice the time and the witnesses here.
March 25th, 12:30 p.m., witnessed by Albert Pike, the confectioner, and his wife. This proves that when Mr. Marsh supposedly went to pay the tradesman's books, he actually went to the confectioner to have them sign the final hidden will using that trick ink.
All right, Section 4, Analyzing the Case.
You know, a good mystery is always more than just a puzzle. It reveals human character. Our source material wraps up with this detailed check your understanding section. And these comprehension questions really challenge us to look way past the disappearing ink and the hidden bricks, and instead analyze the character's true motives. The textbook really wants us to dig into the dynamics between Uncle Andrew and Miss Violet, pushing us to critically think about the underlying themes.
One of the most fascinating questions it raises is whether Miss Violet actually saw through her uncle's trick. Hastings, being the traditionalist he is, thinks it's kind of unfair because she didn't actually solve the disappearing ink puzzle herself. But Poirot sharply corrects him. He argues that she amply proved her wits by immediately recognizing the complexity of the problem and handing the whole thing over to Poirot's capable hands. Knowing exactly when to call in an expert? Well, that's a form of intelligence all its own.
Then the Think and Answer section asks us to take a hard look at Uncle Andrew's worldview. Remember his quote from the beginning? He had this deep disdain for Miss Violet's book learning and fully believed traditional cunning was superior. The source wants us to reflect on that bias. Uncle Andrew set this elaborate trap specifically to prove that higher education for women was useless in the real world. Yet Violet's modern, pragmatic approach, hiring a professional detective, ultimately completely subverts his entire philosophy.
So, I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought taken straight from the source's group work prompt. In this ultimate test of wits, who is the real winner here? Did Ms. Violet actually play fair by outsourcing the puzzle to a master detective? Or did she simply utilize the exact resources her book learning taught her to manage? It's such a brilliant question, and it really makes the story from 1923 feel incredibly relevant today. Think about it, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.